This is going to be your weekly tarot and oracle relationship reading. If it's meant for you, it's meant for you. I just want to start off by saying thank you to all of you who gave me feedback about this style of reading. I'm glad that it resonates and you enjoy it, so I will continue to do them. What we're going to be doing is we're going to take a look at the energies for this week, the energy on the weekend, and the next week. So I'm going to be using the Before Tarot to see what you may have been encountering prior to this reading. I'm going to use this regular tarot deck for the weekend, and then the After Tarot deck to see what you can expect in the following days. Now, we are in a very heightened time, of course, you know, isn't it always intense? I mean, people ask me all the time, when is this ever going to end? But I mean, we're lifelong learners. We're on this journey for a reason, right? You know, sometimes when people ask me, why are we alive during this time? I mean, why are we, you know, experiencing these difficulties? And I say it's because we're the strongest. That's why. And in regards to relationships, we need love. We need to come together. That is the highest vibration we can have on this planet, right? I mean, there's either love or fear, and we don't want to be in fear. So I'm always encouraging good energy, ascension, learning, you know, and finding balance, okay? So let's take a look at some overall messages that you need to know about your relationship at this time. And we have first light. Beginning a new cycle. We sure are. Interesting that that's like new moon energy, because the new moon is in Libra. Now, obviously, the eclipse is going to bring us new energy as well, because, I mean, hey, that's what eclipses do. They disrupt our current situations. So let's see what else we need to know here. Cosmic Emerald. Create perfect health, access divine abundance. You know what I see right away when I think of the emerald? I think of the heart chakra. And I think of healing, and I think of growth and change. And maybe this is just a message to focus on your health, but also to recognize that you are abundant and that everything is happening for a reason, right? It's not happening to you, it's happening for you. And let's see what else we need to know here. Believe in the impossible. Blue moon. Wow, I love that. You know, we did have a blue moon back at the end of August. You know, we had 2 full moons, super moons in the month of August. And that energy really was all about believing in the impossible. And I still believe in this. Believe in the impossible. Believe is obviously the word of the day. But I would just say to you that recognize that eclipses bring shakeups for a reason, okay? And sometimes there are things that we don't think can be possible that are possible. It just is a matter of perspective. And this eclipse really is going to be changing our perspective on things. You know, sometimes things that we want are not always what we need, and the universe has a way of delivering that, you know. And I know it's never easy, but change is necessary. So I encourage you all to be open to this. Now, let's take a look at what are the energies leading up to the weekend, what you may have felt in the previous days, okay? So what we're going to be doing is looking at your headspace, your person's headspace, your heart space, their heart space, overall energy and underlying energy, and of course, feel free to swap sides if it makes more sense, okay? So in your headspace in the previous days, the Queen of Wands, you know, it's interesting. The Queen of Wands is all about confidence. I think there's been this overwhelming energy to believe in oneself, right? And to move forward. And the Queen of Wands has a sunflower, and the sunflower is needing to be pointed to the sun. And you might be saying, why? Well, because they soak up the sun, and the sun is yes. The sun is forward motion. The sun is the confidence. I mean, the sun is your purpose, your ego, right? Are you living in fear? Are you living in love? And we just talked about that a moment ago. So we have here the Queen of Wands. This is saying to you, build your confidence. And there's the Knight of Pentacles. You know, I can't make this up, because what do I always say? Trust the process. The Knight of Pentacles is a very slow-moving knight. We know that. Extremely slow, okay? Painfully slow at times. And it requires us to have patience. And you can see that the knight is sort of grabbing for that pentacle in the tree. And it's almost like, okay, I'm gonna go for that pentacle. I have an intention in my mind, or I have a goal. And I'm going to trust that everything's going to work out exactly the way it's supposed to. And how that's related to confidence is that you have to have the confidence that everything is going to work out. You have to believe it. What other choice do you have? But I do think a lot of people have been triggered this past week. The emotions are running high because, of course, eclipse energy, the ring of fire, this new moon solar eclipse, is irritating, agitating, triggering. I think we're putting a lot of pressure on ourselves, and we're feeling pressure from others, and we just kind of want to explode. There might be moments where you want to tell people to F off, and it's okay. If you're feeling the energy, you're feeling the energy, but you have to ask yourself, where's the trigger coming from, right? It's a lot of self-reflection. And, a conversation I've been having a lot lately is about intentions. What are your intentions? And again, Knight of Pentacles, set some intentions here to trust the process. What are your intentions? Where do you want to be? Who do you want to be? What do you want to do? And you don't have to have everything set in motion. You don't have to have a concrete plan, but setting intentions is a starting point. How else can you start if you don't have some intentions? So let's look at what's going on in your person's headspace. Okay, so leading up to this reading today, your person has been embarking on a journey, and I'm not surprised because this is getting into the boat towards peace. We want to leave the turbulence behind, right? We have to go through the storm a little bit here in order to find the peace. And let's see what else we need to know. Yeah, the Four of Wands. Interesting. Spiritual ascension, commitment, stability. I think your person wants that stability. And you know what I find really interesting actually about these two cards is that in Roman numerals, the 6 and the 4, they look like a mirror to each other. So you can definitely see that there is some mirroring in this connection because you're both sort of embarking on similar journeys. Yes, you're connected on a soul level, of course, but recognize that not all the time will you be experiencing the same things. You could very well be 10 steps ahead of your person. But these two cards in the headspace are all about trusting and embarking on the journey. And these two cards, essentially is the confidence, is the ascension, right? So beautiful energy to start. Let's take a look at your heart space. So here we go. 10 of Swords. In general, the 10 of Swords indicates something being dead, done, and over with. And you're starting to accept that. You're starting to recognize that you can't keep doing the same thing that you used to do. And this eclipse energy is reminding us of that. You can only go to the bank so many times. Things that used to work don't work anymore, And I can think of many examples of this on the daily that are simple. Have you ever noticed sometimes when you use a specific shampoo, after a while it just doesn't feel the same anymore? Like your hair just doesn't go the same way? Or it even could be like a mascara, where like you use a mascara and like it's not working the same way. Your lashes don't feel the same anymore. They don't feel as full or as easy to manage. I know these sound like silly examples. It's also the same thing with workouts. When you work out, you have to change it up, right? Doing the same exercises every day over and over and over again is not necessarily going to bring you the results. So whatever it is that you're doing, you have to recognize that you do have to change it up every now and again. And so this 10 of Swords tells me that you're embarking on acceptance. And there's the Magician. The Magician says you have all the tools. And in this particular depiction, you may not have all of them yet. You're amassing them is how I would describe it. You have to be aware of your communication, your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, because they have an impact on how you manifest. So I have a feeling that there's a need to communicate. There's a need to accept, okay? And let's take a look at what's going on in your person's heart space leading up to this reading. There's the Sun. Here comes the Sun, literally, okay? I mean, the Sun is forward motion, and we talked about the sunflower. And you know what's funny about this is that I just kind of mentioned how important it is to turn that sunflower to the sun. And I almost picture it as, divine masculine, which is the sun, and divine feminine, which is the moon. But yet this feminine energy of the Queen of Wands is putting her flower towards the sun, looking for that enlightenment and that nourishment and that sun to take the lead, right? So it's almost like your person is embarking on this peaceable journey or search for peace in order to find that happiness, right? And what else do we have here? The Five of Wands. Yeah, they're getting ready. You know, they're getting ready for battle, for conflict, or they're engaging in it because they got to make some moves. You know, they got to make some moves. Now, let me just maybe move these cards up just a little bit. Let's take a look at the overall energy between the two of you leading up to this. Yeah, they need to collaborate. Interesting. Co-create. And I mean, look, there's something definitely brewing in the love department. I've seen this Two of Cups many times actually this week. Definitely there's a feeling of love and it's brewing. But why do I feel like there is a bit of fear, you know, of like, can I really give myself? Can I really have this, you know? And let's take a look at the bottom of the deck. See Page of Cups. We're in the early stages of something here. You can feel it brewing and it's emotional. Okay, let's take a look at the other card here. Temperance. Oh, patience. And I mean, something brewing, I just said it, really. I mean, what is temperance? It's alchemy, right? It's blending the old with the new. I always say, take what you've learned from the past, apply it to the present so you can have a better future. Alchemy is turning something into something else. And that's what we're trying to do right now, is we're trying to take these energies and make them into something better, okay? Let's see what's going on currently. All right, let's flip it to where we're at right now. So in the current energy in your headspace, we have the Ten of Swords. Isn't that interesting? We had the Ten of Swords just now in the Before Tarot, and now you've got the Ten of Swords where now something may be dead, done, and over with, and that's about the acceptance. And there's the Emperor, exactly, making power moves. Regardless of what's happening in your connection, it is so important that you make power moves for you. Nothing can shift unless you're doing for you. And I think that's the hardest thing, because we're worried that if we make moves, our person's going to forget us. And I can assure you that that's not the case. It's not about feelings. It's not about love. Love has nothing to do with it. It has to do with personal growth and evolution and ascension. Nothing that's meant for you is ever going to pass you by, ever, okay? Don't worry that someone's going to forget you, okay? So let's see what's going on in your person's headspace currently. There's the King of Pentacles, and I love that because the King of Pentacles is somebody who's in it for the long haul, right? This is somebody who's slow and steady. And interesting, we had the Knight of Pentacles in your headspace in the Before Tarot. And the King of Pentacles tells you that there is abundance to be had. The only thing that I can say about the King of Pentacles is that it can indicate somebody repeating old patterns, and that's why it takes so long. Now, it doesn't mean they're not going to be abundant. It just means sometimes they take detours. Sometimes they take longer than necessary. But again, that's their timeline, or that's what's meant to happen. Now, we also have the Six of Pentacles, which I love because that's equal giving and receiving in balance. And, you know, we had the Six of Swords underneath that in the Before Tarot. And 6-6 might be an angel number you're seeing, but it's all about harmony and balance. The Six of Pentacles can also indicate an investment, right? An investment in oneself, an investment in a relationship, right? That's why we want equal giving and receiving. And in your heart space currently, we have the Nine of Pentacles. This is about you feeling good in your own skin. When you do for you, you have the success, right? That's when everybody's attracted to you. When you're not feeling good about yourself, what do you attract? You attract people and situations that don't serve you. And I mentioned that in the Before Tarot with the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands is all about confidence, believing in oneself. There's that believe word again, right? Believe in the impossible. The Queen of Wands struts around like she owns it. And I always talk about this. A lion doesn't have to say it's a lion. They just exude that energy. It's important that you exude the confidence in yourself. And when you do that, people find that very, very attractive. And just think of yourself. When you look at a person and you see how confident they are, aren't you attracted to that? You're not attracted to somebody who boasts about it and says, I'm the best, look at me. You're attracted to somebody who just exudes beautiful energy. So let's see what else you need to know. The Ace of Swords, truth, clarity, aha moments, and epiphanies. And this is what I mean about the eclipse energy. You may be finding that currently you're getting some truth, and it may be truth that you already know, as in deep down within you, or you may be shaken up by something, and maybe you're having a realization that something is different than you thought. Okay, so let's take a look in your person's heart space. And we have the Six of, see, beautiful. I love this. Now we've got 3 6s. And by the way, that's not a bad number. It's, again, it's just peace and harmony and equal giving and receiving. We had the 6 of Swords in the before tarot, and now we've got the 6 of Swords in the current energy. And in the heart space, that tells us we're finding peace. And it could even be a card of literal travel, yes. Let's see what else we need to know. See, the Ace of Cups. Beautiful, a brand new emotional beginning. That cup runneth over, and I love it. Notice how in both of your heart spaces, there's an ace, and aces are brand new beginnings. Overall energy between the two of you right now, funny, we had the Page of Cups before, now we have the Page of Cups here in the current energy. So that means, you know, we're making movement here and changes. Again, believing in the impossible, okay? And there's the Devil card. The Devil card is restriction and codependency and possibly addictions. And look, those are just tests. Those are just tests. And you know what I'm always going to ask you? Are you in the old? Are you in the new? I have to say it. I can't stop repeating it because it's valid. Are you in old energy or are you in the new? And even though you're going to be tested, it's okay. You just keep on going. Every day is a brand new day. Underlying energy is the Four of Pentacles. This is where the fear kind of gets in, where we say, can I have this? Can I really have this? But I've made moves. I'm healed. And the reality is that we're never done making moves. We're never fully healed per se. That doesn't mean you can't achieve a level of calmness or feeling good, but it requires work on your part, always. We're lifelong learners. That's the cheesy teacher in me. We never stop learning. We never stop growing. We never stop doing. That's growth mindset. And whenever I see the Four of Pentacles, I think of somebody with fixed mindset, where they say, yeah, no, I don't want to make any more moves. I've made enough moves. Yeah, I put myself out there, you know, a couple times, and now I should have my rewards. And that's not how it works, okay? You know, to give you an analogy between fixed and growth mindset, somebody with a fixed mindset sits down at a piano and says, I can't do this. I'll never be a piano player. I'll never be a concert pianist, okay? And a person with a growth mindset says, yeah, I may never be a concert pianist or a piano player, but I can get better. I can improve my skills if I just practice, if I just do my best. How can anybody fault you if you're doing your best? And I used to say this in the classroom as a teacher. Whenever I had a student that would worry about mastery of a skill, I would say, as long as you've done your best, how can anybody truly fail you? How can anybody truly criticize you? And that's what's sad about our society, is that we're always looking for this, you know, perfect answer or perfect score when that really doesn't exist. We're not A+ at everything we do in life, and that's okay. As long as we recognize that there is growth and effort, to me, that's what matters. And so underlying energy is the Seven of Cups. Seven of Cups means we have options, but we don't always know what to do. So we just do nothing, right? Not making a decision is making a decision. And the Seven of Cups can also indicate having very vivid dreams. And I'm having vivid dreams right now myself. And I think that's just, you know, this knowing that something is brewing, and, you know, we just have to embrace it. But at the same time, we have to make a decision. What do we want? What do we truly want? I feel like I'm in the Notebook here saying, like, what do you want? You know, I think sometimes we're afraid to say what we want, you know? Okay, so let's take a look at the after tarot and look at the energies, you know, sort of post-weekend, you know, post-eclipse. And don't forget that you're going to feel these energies days before the eclipse, obviously during the eclipse, and days after the eclipse. You know, this doesn't necessarily just happen on one day. You know, these are energies that we're sort of taking in and feeling out and, like I said, processing. So let's see what's going on in your headspace next week. What can we look forward to? And we have the, look, Six of Pentacles, equal giving and receiving and balance. Do you see the trends here? It's almost like, again, you are 10 steps ahead of your person. I just want to remind you on a side note, never get mad at your person when they're 10 steps behind you, because you were once there too. I understand the frustration. I understand the wanting to pull somebody up the cake. If you know the cake analogy, you know I always say that, just in case. Maybe I have to repost the cake analogy. Let me know if you'd like me to do that. I've been thinking of actually reposting it again for those of you that are new to my channel. But I would just say, recognize that everybody's on a different timeline. Not everybody's at the same pace. Not everybody awakens at the same time. Not everybody awakens. How about that? You know, so it really depends on the scenario. But in your headspace, we have Six of Pentacles. And I love that. That's finding the balance. And I just want to make another observation. Remember what I said earlier about the mirroring? Here's the 4 and here's the 6. In the Roman numerals, it's a mirror. So we're getting a lot of mirrored energy. Let me know if that resonates. And let's see. The 5 of Pentacles is feeling left out in the cold. And that's not obviously a great card to have. But here's what's going to happen. You're going to go through the ebb and flow, right? The roller coaster of these emotions, or, you know, milestones in your relationships. You know, do you ever notice with every high that you have together, you have like a moment where you're like, is this really real? Do they really feel this way? You know, and they do, trust me, the feelings are there, or the vibes are there, but we start to doubt ourselves. If we don't hear from them enough, we think that they don't care about us, you know, and that's not necessarily the case, right? So I have a feeling that something's going to come to a head, and yet all at the same time, you're going to feel a little bit of silence, or you're going to feel a little bit of this detachment, because naturally there comes fear. You know, whenever we have movement or change, people get a little antsy, right? In your person's headspace next week, we have the Queen of Cups. And I love this because the Queen of Cups is about following one's heart. I always talk about the Queen of Cups as overgiving, and it is. You know, I think your person has to be careful that they're not placating to others or overgiving. This to me is more about trusting intuition and trusting one's heart. And also feeling the emotions, actually feeling it, allowing themselves to feel. And we also have Victory, another 6, which is amazing. We're getting so many 6s. And again, those 6s are about balance, peace, and harmony, right? Because remember, we have a new start coming. We have abundance if we believe in it. And hence, believe in the impossible. I can't stop repeating the word believe. That's the word. Now, let's take a look at your heart space here. Page of Cups. We had the Page of Cups before. This is now saying believe in miracles, and maybe miracles are coming in. And that's lovely energy to have. The Tower. Don't be afraid of this, by the way. Please don't. The Tower is a really good thing, in my opinion. We need it. And it's tough. The Tower shakes us up. It rocks our world in ways that we never thought possible, right? And this allows us to rebuild. But I always say we're not starting with nothing. We're starting with knowledge we didn't have before. So please don't be afraid of the Tower moment coming. I think you all know something is brewing, but it's not something that has to be bad. And I want you to think about your perspective on this, that sometimes we perceive something as bad, but it ends up being the best blessing we've ever had. You have to look at it with fresh eyes or a fresh perspective, or looking at the bigger picture. I think it's very human nature to think subjectively, right? So in your person's heart space, there's the 9 of Cups. 9 of Cups is ask and you shall receive. It's also a card that you can see. He's feasting. Your person is going to be abundant and reap those rewards. And again, we talked about that abundance over here. And we also have the Knight of Swords. This is somebody who's going to want to take action, who's going to want to make moves. And the overall energy for next week is, look at this. We had the 5 of Wands earlier about getting into battle, right? And now it's like this person, oh, I'm sorry, I'm thinking 5 of Wands. This is 10 of Wands. But it's kind of very similar message, because we have, well, funny, 10 of Wands is always coming out, right? Mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally exhausted, putting down the burdens. The overall energy for the following week is that we're going to put down those burdens. We're not going to be in conflict anymore. This person is saying, I'm going to grasp that wand because it means a passionate new beginning and a spark. That spark to live, to thrive, to do. And that to me is an example of that growth mindset that I referred to earlier. And I want to shuffle this up. I want to shake things up. Normally I would just pull it right off the top, but I just want to actually shuffle it. Here we go. See, I knew it. I was channeling this. Of course, that's what happens when you're doing cards. I don't read cards to actually read the energies, but they're a great tool. Look, the Five of Swords is very similar to the Five of Wands. This is somebody who's putting down the swords. Okay, like these people in the background are actually walking away from the battle. They've put the swords down, and the victor here, the person who is the winner, is picking up these swords, amassing the abundance. Isn't that funny that I said that early? Amassing the abundance, right? So we're coming out of the conflict. Interesting. Love it. Okay, underlying energy, Page of Pentacles. There's an offer coming in. The desire to study and learn something new, to do differently. What did I say earlier? You're starting with knowledge that you didn't have before, okay? And with that, we have justice. Boom. Love it. Equal giving and receiving and balance. We saw a lot of that Six of Pentacles, and the Six of Pentacles is considered to be the minor arcana version of the Justice card. Justice card is equal giving and receiving. This could be matters of marriage or divorce even, as in, you know, getting some sort of clarity or some sort of decision. But that is really, really beautiful. Now, let's take some Power of Surrender cards just to see what we need to surrender or surrender to throughout this set of energies. Surrender to Spirit. Well, yeah, what else can we do? Once you've done everything you can to achieve a goal, turn the situation over to the divine. Let Spirit work its magic for you. Okay. And in... I was about to say something, but I'm going to wait. Surrender to rest and sleep. You know what I was going to say? It's kind of funny that this card came out. I said it to someone recently about, you know, imagining, manifesting, you know, how important it is to manifest. I want you to envision what you want, feel like you have it. I want you to dream it into reality. You know what song I was thinking of? And that was I Knew I Loved You Before I Met You by Savage Garden. I think I dreamed you into life, you know? It's interesting. Or even like Selena, Dreaming of You. I've had this conversation a few times recently about how important it is to rest and sleep and slow down and just sort of like envision what it's like to have what you want, right? Manifest it. Now, it doesn't have to have like the face of a specific person. I want you to think of the archetype of the person that you want or the type of relationship that you want. Because here's the thing. You have to ask for what you want or better. And I know many of you will say, well, how could there be anything better than my person? But again, you don't want a person who's not in their best energy. You know, if they're struggling to make boundaries, they're placating to family, they're not communicating, they're not feeling confident, that really isn't what you want. You want the potential of that person, not so much the reality. So I want you to sort of have a vision of a relationship that you would like to have, and I want you to feel it. I want you to have an archetype of a person in your mind and focus on that more than a specific face, you know, or a specific person. And that's why I was going to actually say, and in dream time, and funny that this card came out, to prevent burnout, slow down, honor your need for quiet time and peaceful sleep to rejuvenate your mind, body, and spirit. And here's the thing. I want to take this back to surrender to Spirit for a moment. When I'm telling you to think of an archetype or a type of relationship that you would like to have, understand that the universe or Spirit is going to give you what you need, not always what you want. And that's very hard to digest sometimes, because often people will say, I know what I know. It has to be this. I want it to be this. And I get it. But that holding on to an expectation is actually what gets in the way of having what could be the best thing that ever happened to you. Again, it's all about perspective. And just for kicks, for good measure, because the energy is so intense, let's take a third card. Surrender to your intuition. Tune into your inner voice. Be aware of any gut feelings, flashes, knowings, or aha moments that come through to guide you. Whenever I think of intuition, I think of the heart right away, because the heart knows. And I'm not talking about romance here. I'm talking about the electromagnetic field of your heart. Trust yourself. They always say the longest journey is from the head to the heart. So I really hope that this reading has resonated with you. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate your kindness and support. As always, I appreciate a subscription, a like, a follow, comment. I just appreciate you all so, so much. And if you'd like to do a personal reading with me, the link is in my bio, my website, kellylorraine111.com. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I wish you the most amazing week.